Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is a pleasure to be with you here today during this important event. Myself and my colleague ENOMOTO will provide you with a brief overview of the ASM3 process. Next slide, please. The first Arctic Science Ministerial was an initiative started by the United States in 2016. The intention was to increase international collaboration and advance Arctic research activities. This meeting was a groundbreaking idea to further cooperative efforts in international research and included science ministers from 24 different countries. Next slide, please. In 2018, delegations from 26 different countries came together in Berlin for ASM2 to discuss the collective efforts of international research cooperation in the Arctic. This meeting was hosted by Germany, Finland, and the European Commission, which introduced the idea of having an Arctic and non-Arctic state work together as ASM hosts. Next slide, please. As hosts of ASM3, Iceland and Japan arrived at the overarching theme Knowledge for a Sustainable Arctic and developed 4 sub-themes under the titles Observe, Understand, Respond, and Strengthen. These reflect elements of the previous ASM themes and reintroduce an emphasis on education, which appeared in ASM1. These themes should be viewed as a 4-step iterative cycle, with each theme informing the next without hierarchy. Next slide, please. The Science Advisory Board was brought together under the guiding principles for ASM3 to be transparent, inclusive, and implement a bottom-up approach to science. Therefore, representatives were nominated to serve on the board from different international Arctic science organizations by the organizations to help guide the science process of ASM3. We will hear from a few other members of the board during the ministerial as they provide a scientific overview for each theme. Next slide, please. The ASM3 science process followed the structure of ASM2 by soliciting project updates and new projects from participating countries, indigenous peoples organizations, and international organizations, while also attempting to create a formal consultation process with the wider research community. Notably for this ASM, the working groups of the Arctic Council were invited to contribute projects through the science process as other international organizations. Next slide, please. A consultation process with the wider research community also took place through the 6th International Symposium on Arctic Research, the ASM Research Community Workshops, a joint effort between IASC, IASA, and APEX, and the Arctic Observing Summit, who submitted a direct call to action to the ASM3 ministers. The outcomes of these consultation processes can all be found in the ASM3 report. New to this ASM was a survey on international collaboration and cooperation, which was sent to all participating countries and organizations. The aim of this survey was to collect some much needed information and feedback to help identify gaps and barriers in Arctic research, which also addressed specifically in the Gaps and Barriers workshop as part of the ASM3 webinar series. The ASM3 webinar series also included a special event specifically focused on indigenous peoples' participation in the ASM3 process. In this series, all 6 international Arctic indigenous peoples organizations participated, discussing the importance of inclusion of the knowledge of indigenous peoples in Arctic science and research, and the important role this plays in sustainability. And now I would like to invite my colleague ENOMOTO to take the floor. Thank you.
Okay, so I will continue the reporting from the Science Advisory Board. You can see the science process report. This all 433 of these formal project submissions by countries and organizations were reviewed, discussed, and synthesized by the Science Advisory Board. And so each submission includes detailed project information, and you can see the word cloud of the keywords was appearing: collaboration, climate community monitoring, and many important issues are synthesized in this report. And each submission includes detailed project information. The sheet is very small, but each submission has information of the duration of the project or research and staff involved, and keywords, and also location, collaborators, and also ASM themes. So discussed in the SAB. And all of these projects submit compiled in this sheet. So please look at the report after this meeting very carefully, and you can see the contribution of each country. And make this sheet shows the making note of the new project submit and project update from ASM2. So below you can see the number 433 in total. And the next slide, this slide gives us a look at the collaborations by country as well as breakdown of the project submitted by theme. So left side is project collaboration by country. So each country has many collaboration country, but so you can see which country has dominant or collaboration activities. And many of these key projects were best exemplified international cooperation, and that cooperation was highlighted in the ASM3 webinar series. So this is science summary. The science summary was prepared by SAB, Advisory Board. All subject projects were reviewed by the Science Advisory Board members, and this team evaluated the progress made since ASM2 and highlighted some key projects under each theme. The ASM3 science summary found in the ASM3 report includes this synthesized information from this process. And this is a project database. This brand new online database maps all the projects submitted to the ASM3 process. This makes it easy access ongoing project and can be used as a tool to accelerate collaboration. And this is a page introducing the joint statement. These foundational outcomes are the joint statement of ministries, and the accompanied the ASM3 final report. The Science Advisory reviewed all the submitted science and helped to identify key action as well as identified gap and barrier which could be highlighted in the joint statement of ministers as well as explored in the final report. Overview of the actions in the joint statement will be introduced by the Science Advisory Board members in the sessions during the Ministerial. Below you can see the SAB member names. So for SAB member will guide to the four themes of the ASM3. And final outcomes. The intention of this wide-reaching science process was to have a robust and inclusive science process to provide a strong foundation for all the final outcome of the ASM3. Hopefully, these final outcomes create useful tool for cooperation, deepen our understanding of both the achievement and challenges that lay ahead, and provide a strong framework for taking urgent action. We also developed some new online resources, including recording of all the webinar series, a list of international opportunities and resources, and a new project database mapping all the ASM3 summit project. Okay, thank you very much.